It's Friday, guys. That means it's Free Ride Friday here on the $100 MBA Show. Every Friday, we give away a lifetime membership to the $100 MBA Training and Community. It's our way to say thank you for all the love you give us on iTunes. If you want to win a free ride, all you got to do is leave us an iTunes rating and review. It takes 2 minutes, and you enter our weekly random draw of everybody who's left us a review, and you may win that free ride. You don't win this week, don't worry, you enter the draw next week. So make sure you tune in every Friday to see if you won the free ride this Friday. And if you're wondering what comes with this free ride, just check us out at 100mba.net. It's over 180 training videos, all about how to start your business from scratch. Everything from sales to marketing to finances, even how to optimize your site with Google Analytics or starting a service-based business. So let's get into today's episode. Let's jump right into it. Welcome to the $100 MBA Show, the business podcast that knows you can do without the jibber jabber. That's why we keep our business lessons, our daily business lessons, to 10 minutes every single day to give you what you need so you can keep moving forward. I'm your host, your coach, your teacher, Omar Zenhom. I'm also the co-founder of the $100 MBA, a complete business training and community online. And in today's lesson, you will learn how to deal with embarrassment in business. Sometimes in your business, you're going to get caught with your pants down. Hopefully not literally, but seriously, you will be embarrassed. You will do things. Things will happen that are outside your realm of influence that really don't reflect really well. And you're going to have to deal with it. How do you talk to your customers? How do you address this embarrassment? How to make sure that your relationship with your customers and your audience is not tarnished because of this, but in fact, you use this actual opportunity to build even deeper trust with your audience. I'm going to show you how, because whether I like it or not, I've had my share of embarrassments and I had to deal with them. So I'll share with you my experiences as well as the strategies I used to handle those situations. Let's get into it, guys. Let's get down to business. Usually at this spot, I have a pre-roll sponsorship spot, but I want to do something a little bit different this time. I want to ask you for your feedback. If you go to podsurvey.com/MBA, you can help me out. You can help our whole team out by taking a 5-minute survey. It's going to ask you some questions about yourself and what you like to buy. It's completely anonymous, but your answers will help us find the right advertisers that match you, your interests, and the show. And when you're finished, as a special bonus, you enter a monthly draw to win a $100 Amazon gift certificate. And even if you've taken one of our surveys before, if you take the survey again, you still get a chance to win that $100 Amazon gift card. Once again, that's podsurvey.com/MBA. We can really use your help to make sure that we get the right sponsors that you need. We want to make sure it's congruent with the show and you, our most valuable part of the show, our audience. Just head on over to podsurvey.com/MBA. Your server goes down, your app crashes, you miss an appointment, you send out the wrong email to your list. These can be some really embarrassing moments, all of which I've experienced. I'm not proud of it, but it has happened, and it's going to happen in the course of a long career in entrepreneurship. If you do a lot, the chances of you making mistakes or something embarrassing happens is slightly larger than when you do less. No, seriously. You will have these experiences where you feel completely embarrassed. But the worst thing you can do in this situation is to not do anything about it, not getting in front of it. So I want to jump right into the strategies of what to do when something embarrassing happens in your company to you. Sometimes it's out of your control, like a server crash. Sometimes it was completely your fault, like you missed an appointment, an important appointment with somebody maybe that's an influencer in your marketplace. So strategy number 1 is communication. You have to communicate with whoever is on the receiving end of that embarrassing moment, whether that's your audience not being able to access your server because you crashed, or the person that you had an appointment with, or the receivers of the email you sent by accident. Whatever happened, you got to communicate with that party. And the longer you delay to communicate, the worse. Now, this communication doesn't need to be long-winded. It doesn't have to be something that is so well written or so well communicated, but it has to be communicated. So now that we've established rule number 1 is communicate as soon as possible, The second thing is the best thing to do is just be honest. Just be honest. For example, I missed a pretty important appointment one time when I was traveling. And in fact, I was in Australia. And the time zone of the person I was meeting was Central Standard Time in the US. Now, I was in Sydney. If you know anything about time zones, that's 21-hour difference. I got it all screwed up. I thought the appointment was the day before or the day after or something like that. My calendar was not syncing correctly. I just dropped the ball. I was really busy at that moment. I had it in my calendar way in advance, but I think I put it the wrong way, or when my calendar changed when I went to Australia, I missed the appointment. Needless to say, it was really embarrassing because if you're supposed to be a successful entrepreneur, you should be able to keep your appointments. So as soon as I realized that I missed the appointment, I communicated with the person immediately. And I just was honest with them. I told them exactly what I just told you right now and said, hey, I just dropped the ball. I'm really sorry. The time zones completely screwed me up. I thought I had it in my calendar, but it was in my calendar for a different time zone. And when I switched time zones, my calendar messed up. Regardless, it's completely my fault. And I end it with this. How can I make it up to you? You got to admit the fact that they kind of got the short end of the stick here. Something happened that was not favorable to them. In these embarrassing situations, you have to get in front of it. You got to be honest. And you got to apologize. You got to say, hey, I'm really sorry. This was completely my fault. How can I make it up to you? And often that's enough. Often they'll reply and say, hey, don't worry about it. I completely understand. Thanks for your honesty. Let's reschedule or let's make it happen. Or if your server goes out, no problem. These things happen. But just in case, if they're not that forgiving, if you open it up and say, hey, how can I make it up to you? You have a way to make it up to them. They could say to you, hey, I really wanted to make that appointment. It was my only time slot. We're going to have to push this back another month or whatever. And sometimes the best thing to do is just offer something to make it up to them. Say, hey, I know that we missed our appointment and we were supposed to meet, but how about I buy you lunch? How about I buy you dinner when I'm back in town? How about we use this situation and talk about it on my podcast? The point here is that you have to make it up. You have to be the first person to say, hey, I know that this is not right. I want to make it right. Now, this is true for an individual. This is true for a group of people like your audience. Hey, I run a software business and we run a pretty tight ship and the software is amazing, but it's software. Even the biggest companies like Twitter, you can go to the site and say, we're down. The server's overloaded. And a lot of people say, well, why is the server overloaded? Because they don't know the maximum load of the server until it hits the max. And that's when they expand. And that's how we learn the limits of the server. Yeah, you can monitor things, but sometimes there's some pretty big spikes and we didn't expect that big spike. So if you run a software business or have a website or a course and your server is not available or something happens like that where there's a crash, you got to apologize. You got to make it up to them. Even though it may not seem such a big deal, it may be a big deal for the person that's experiencing it. At the end of the day, you're in the service business. You're serving your customers. So number one, make sure that you communicate as soon as possible. Number two, just be honest about the situation. Number three, offer a way to make it up to them. Number four, and this is probably the most important one, start working on not having that happen again. You want to make sure that that's the last time that happens, whether that's a crash or a mishap on your scheduling or whatever it is. Put a system in place. Put precautions in place so it doesn't happen again. Maybe it's a sign that you need a personal assistant now. The point here is that you can't make the same mistake twice. It's going to look really bad, really embarrassing at that point. So put a procedure in place. Put the pieces in place to make sure it doesn't happen again. Guys, I got more on today's topic, but before that, I got to give love to today's sponsor, Colony FM. If you're like me, there's not enough hours to do everything you want in a day. One of the things I wish I had more time for is reading. I love reading. And in fact, when I had a short break recently, I did so much reading. I loved it. But normally, I don't have that much time. Thankfully, there's a new app called Colony FM, which uses voices from real actors to narrate articles and blogs so I can get my reading in basically anytime. What's really cool about Colony FM is that it's actually a real person reading it. It's not some robot. It's pretty amazing. There are other services out there like Siri or text-to-speech voices, but they're not the same. They don't sound really like a real person. It's pretty annoying really quickly. People like hearing a real person, and that's what Colony FM gives you, like a living, breathing, warm-blooded human being. It's like the blog posts that I read become podcast episodes. I love it. So whether if you're in the car, in the office, washing dishes, or just hanging out, nothing's easier or more soothing than having a real person do the reading for you. But best of all, if you go to colony.fm/100 right now, you'll get the service completely free. Yes, absolutely free. And it's available on the web, on the App Store, and in the Google Play Store. Again, that's colony.fm/100. Check it out. All right, guys, to wrap up today's lesson, 4 steps to deal with any embarrassing situation in your business. Number 1, take action, communicate as soon as possible. Number 2, be honest. Just explain honestly what happened. Number 3, make sure you offer something to make it up to them, whether it's a person or your whole audience. And number 4, take action and put some procedures in place so that embarrassing situation never happens again. That's your job as an entrepreneur. You can learn from a mistake, but you shouldn't be learning from it over and over. Do yourself a favor and write MBA531 on a Post-it note and just put it on your desktop or on your desk. That way you can always remember the episode number for today's lesson. God forbid something happens and it's embarrassing, you know the procedure, you know the 4 steps. And you can refer back to the episode. All right, guys, that wraps up today's lesson. But today's episode's not over. It's Free Ride Friday, so I got to give away a free lifetime membership to the $100 MBA Training and Community. Let's see who won this week's free ride. And this week's winner is Ben989. Ben989 says, like a personal coach, 5 stars. I'm 16 and starting to learn about business, and Omar has taught me so much. Thanks to him, I've been able to create business ideas and plans and been able to put some into action. Thank you so much. Wow, thanks Ben989. That means so much to read that review. I'm so glad we're able to help you get started, especially at a young age at 16. You got your whole life ahead of you. I wish you all the best, and I'm glad that we're going to be able to help you out with the $100 MBA lifetime membership. You have won it. Your mission is to email us at support@businessrepublic.net. Email support@businessrepublic.net and you'll be able to get a free ride automatically. We'll hook you up. Our support team will help you get started. That's over 180 video lessons, interviews with experts, workbooks, a whole lot more. Thank you again, guys, for all your love and all the reviews. Every Friday we give away a free ride, so keep those reviews coming in. All right, guys, that wraps up today's lesson and today's episode. But before I go, I want to leave you with this. One of the positives of those embarrassing moments that happen in your business is it helps you build thick skin. At some point as an entrepreneur, you start to realize that, people are forgiving and we're not perfect. And most people and most of our clients really want to see us win. There might be a few haters out there, and there might be people that are irate when something embarrassing happens, like a crash or you're not able to serve them. But you're able to build thick skin because you realize, hey, that's just a really small minority of the people that I serve. Most people actually can understand that I'm trying my best. And the only way they can know that you're trying your best is if you communicate that to them. Communication is so key. Keep in touch with your audience. So when something like that happens that's unfortunate, they can completely understand and have your back. All right, guys, I hope that helps. I hope to see you in tomorrow's episode. Q&A weekends. I'll see you then. Take care.